Hello everyone, and welcome back to Jesse Hecht Creative. Today you were formally invited to the wedding of Rita Repulsa and Lord Zedd, along with their best man Goldar from the Power Rangers Lightning Collection from Hasbro. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. Now let's get to it. So here's Goldar version 1. Goldar version 1 is very lion inspired by this big mane looking thing, along with his face, kind of monkey inspired in a way. Looks really cool, has some really nice eyes. The teeth are well done. The paint on the chin is really cool. This little fur, like cloth cape, extends down and sort of meshes with these wings that are super neat. They have individual feathers and they're awesome. This is really well done, these wings. I love them a lot. The tail is pretty cool. It also clips into his, like, back, I guess, which is really interesting. Or his butt, if it were. The armor here looks a little scratched and pitted on purpose. Very nice shiny gold here. We also get some really good shiny gold for these armor plates over on his shoulders and his chest, as well as his, hips and stuff like that. It's really nicely done. Going down here, we get less of that gold. I wish he had some more of the gold over here. That would really make it pop. His legs are kind of boring, the lower legs, but everything around the center of the body is super solid and just looks awesome. This figure looks really cool, and I just like how it's done. It's very, Asian inspired, and it's a super neat little touch. The red and the green brings out a little bit of nice touch too. As far as accessories goes, he comes with these two hands. One is a grasping hand. You can swivel it around and also hinge it. Just be careful because these are very thin pegs on these. We also have another hand that's a fist. You can swivel it around and then hinge it down and back. It's a little bit loose on mine for some reason, but these are pretty good hands and they're really shiny. He also comes with two gripping hands that can swivel and then hinge. They're fine and work really well. With this cool sword, it is a really nice sword. The electricity can come off and go on it. You can kind of moosh it if you want on here. It looks super nice. The little gem is really neat. I do wish it was painted more, as I think it was more in the show. But it's a nice piece, notwithstanding. And it also fits easily within Goldar's hand right here. Just push and you're good. As far as articulation goes, Goldar's head can swivel left and right. It's a shame that these pieces are on with the head, because he'd have better articulation otherwise. He can go back pretty okay, forward, all right. A little bit of pivot here and there. Goes up this far with the arm, not really that great. And the shoulder pad isn't even hindering it. Goes down. You can kind of move it all the way around in a way. It doesn't really work all that well, though. There is a butterfly joint in there. You get some nice swivel in here. Double joint elbow, again, hindered by the armor plate. Doesn't go up that far. You also get a swivel all the way around at the chest. Very nice articulation, goes back and forth this much. You get some pivot, and you can go all the way around once again. All the way back with this bottom chest joint. At least the abdomen joint goes down all this way and works out pretty nice in that regard. Splits, not really that great. You get a swivel at the top. You can go up this far, back pretty okay. Double jointed knee, it's all right, not that wonderful. You get some pivot and then down and then up. It's quite all right. Yeah, Goldar is okay with articulation. He's better in looks and apparently commanding armies. With his great wings that you can swivel this way, it goes out and in. It's kind of breaking the joint a little bit on mine, which is kind of a shame. You can also go out this far, but it's going to unpeg itself, so just be careful with that. I don't really like to use his wings all that much, as they seem pretty fragile. So yeah, Goldar is really cool with a couple flaws here and there. He's just better standing there and commanding his great armies, if he can stand at least. Let's take a look at Goldar version 2. Goldar version 2 is the same figure with different paint. He looks a little dirtier, a little more rougher around the edges looking. The paint's improved, but I just don't know why they didn't release him this way before. It would have been way better to have the figure released initially with all the good paints acquired. I know they have to make money on using double molds and stuff, but this is kind of cheap. The not cheap thing is these wings. This is when he was disgraced, I believe, by Rita Repulsa and not allowed to use his wings. And they're on a little ball joint right over here. But that really is kind of it. There isn't really much difference to this guy other than color. Moving on. He comes with the same exact accessories as the other one. Just different paint. Different coloration too. It's a little bit more of a bronzy gold on this one. instead of the little bit brighter gold. The sword he carries is way cooler and way better in this iteration. I like this a lot. It's super nice looking and looks really cool. I love the red flames coming off of it, and the gold is a nice touch. Exactly what I wanted for this sword. Both Goldars stand at about 6¼ inches tall or so. They look great together, but I did change their swords because of who they're in allegiance to in the storyline. The non-winged Goldar is in charge of Rita Repulsa's armies, hence that purple lightning blast, and the winged Goldar is in charge of Lord Zedd's armies with that red flame effect and the wings and the newly improved coloration sword, and it just looks much better to me. This way, you have a disgraced, dirtier looking Goldar and a pumped up, rockin' winged Goldar who looks really shiny in gold, as Lord Zedd loves him, and Rita didn't really care for Goldar anyways. And also here's Jesse Hecht Creative. So if I combine both swords, I can make the Master Sword and then rule over all of Eternia, right? Right? Why are you guys looking at me like that? Do I need a lightsaber too? Hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching so far. Make sure to click like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. You can also click the bell icon for more creativity. Now let's get back to it. So here's Rita Repulsa. Rita Repulsa has an excellent head sculpt. I really love it. I'm not sure if this is hair or not. It's just really weird. It's more like a headdress or anything with a lot of ties and stuff to tie it down. Kind of like a turban. Reminds me a little bit of Jafar over here. Very interesting. Her face is the best part about it, though. It is phenomenal. She has this really angry look of rage going on. That's wonderful. The head bandana comes down to loops over here, and I'm just worried about her face, mostly because it's all painted, on the black. I'm just worried that over time it'll chip, crack, and yeah, they just have a separate piece for this face. But moving on to the headdress kind of thing, the neck piece, really nice. These feathers, it's all plastic, very pliable. Really good looking with the little sort of pentagram looking deal over here. And Madonnas. Let's just call them Madonnas. These Madonnas are really cool. That's weird. They're like cyberpunk Madonnas. It's pretty awesome. Coming down to this sort of like spider leg looking thing over here. And the dress itself is all fabric, cloth. Very nicely done though. The stitching is really good on it. And I love this pattern. It's super neat. It's in a silvery kind of dealio. I feel like it should be done in gold, as I think the show did that. Not really sure. Coming around to the back, there's some swirls over here and feathers. She has some gold little like bracelets. She has rings on her fingers on each of them, and that looks awesome. It could be a knuckle duster, it could be rings, not really sure. And she has these cool like witch boots. I would guess they kind of turn up with buckles. That's super weird and interesting. Going underneath, it's your standard ranger body. Yeah. It's just basically a ranger body. There's boots here. They look pretty good. That might be a new piece for this character. I'm not really sure. But it's basically your standard ranger body underneath with some regular arms underneath. It's fine. People, I think, use this for customs back in the day when this initially released. But I like to keep her as Rita Repulsa. She looks excellent, and I'm not really that mad about the cloth. So yeah, good job, Hasbro. As far as accessories goes, she comes with these two hands. One gripping hand you can swivel and then hinge. It's a little bit difficult to hinge sometimes, but it works past the little bangle. This one also swivels and then hinges, but you don't really need to, honestly. There isn't much posability with this figure, I don't think. She also comes with this love potion accessory. It has a little heart on top. It's nice gold, nice blue. You can't miss it in your collection, but it's a pretty messed up accessory. So yeah, take that as you will. She also comes with two gripping hands. You can swivel and then hinge as well. They look really cool with all the rings on them. I really like how they work. And the bangles on the wrist are a really nice touch. Just watch out for those long pegs again. You should be okay. But taking these in and out of the arms is kind of a pain. If you open her hand wide enough or use a different accessory to get her hand open wide enough, you can put the potion in it, the love potion. It looks pretty cool in this hand like this, like she's going to use it and dunk it on somebody. She also comes with a bouquet for a wedding. I wonder who she's going to get married to. It's pretty okay of a bouquet. It doesn't look that great. It looks very plasticky and dumb. Could use the wash or a different color for these flowers. But yeah, the love potion's a good accessory though still, even though it's weird. She also comes with a full-on wedding cake. Look at this thing. It's really cool. We get a glimpse at who she's going to marry over here. The guy with the big Z on his staff. And there's also Rita over there. They're kind of cute, holding hands and everything. There's a big spider on the cake. It's really interesting and globby and very melty and weird. Does not look appetizing at all. It looks like it's made of metal. Really nice design for the wedding cake toppers, though. Nice touch. It's hollow on the inside, by the way, to save on plastic. That's good. And she finally comes to her staff. It's really awesome to see here all the gears and gadgetry on it. The moon on top, the red dot on it is super neat. A lot of tassels and spikes and a gender symbol on there. And it just looks really neat. There's a lot to take in here, and it just is super cool. It's almost Egyptian, but it has a really nice style to it, and it's just awesome. I love how this thing looks. On the bottom, it even sort of tapers off into several separate pieces and has a little hilt right over here so she can hold it neatly, and it kind of goes all the way down to her legs a little bit, and it works out really well. It's a great accessory, and it looks super duper cool. It wouldn't be Lightning Collection without an energy effect to wrap around the staff. This is a really cool one over here. We've seen this before, I believe. It's pretty neat, though. It's all in purple and looks great. As far as articulation goes, Rita can turn around her head left and right and go back this far. Forward a little bit, kind of hindered by that little weird chin strap thing. Get some pivot in there for attitude. She does have up this far, down, kind of goes all the way around, moving those feathers a bit. But actually, you don't want to go all the way around because it'll twist the heck out of this thing. So just keep it to front ways or back ways, but going all the way around, no. She does have not really a swivel up there at all. She has a swivel down here. I'm kind of guesstimating all this stuff. And a hinge that goes up this far and then down, and that's kind of it. She can swivel it around a bit, though. Gotta be careful with this cloth. That's the hindering factor here. She does have a swivel at the chest going all the way around pretty nicely. There is, I think, as far as I'm checking this out, yeah, there is a crunch, but it doesn't really want to move that well on mine. I do have to actually, I think, maneuver it from this point with the dress up, and then you can crunch her down this far and back pretty far, but I just want to keep her in a neutral position for balance because that's pretty difficult for this figure. But you also get splits really far without the dress on, and with the dress you actually can achieve that. It does ride up a little bit, but that's fine. You get forward this far, back this far. You get a swivel at the top, I believe, that I haven't even touched in a long time. You do get double jointed knees that try to function as well as they can. They bundle into the dress. You gotta sort of move it up, and it doesn't really want to move on mine. Again, I haven't touched this thing in a long time. It moves pretty okay as far as that goes. Putting all these joints back into place. They haven't been touched in years. Swivel, and then down, and then up, and then pivot. 2 peg holes at the bottom of the feet. This figure is a difficult beast to maneuver, but if you get the hang of it and work within its limitations, it can be pretty cool. Rita Repulsa is actually a really nicely done figure. I don't wish she had better articulation. I just wish that maybe she was a different figure or something. I'm not sure. Moving on. Here's Lord Zedd. Lord Zedd is the first Lightning Collection figure I ever got, and I'm incredibly happy to have gotten him. He looks phenomenal. Look at this guy. That smile, those eyes, the Z coming out of his head, the brain on top of his head, the nice, like, sort of spinal cord running down, the meat sack that is his body, and the slight armor and tubing that makes it up. It is wonderful, this guy. He just looks so imposing, powerful, and insane. I love him so much, and he is wonderful. The skeleton, like, muscle, and then the brain, it's very horror-inspired and very sci-fi inspired, and it just hits all those right notes for a perfect villain for me. This is just wonderful, and I love him. As far as accessories goes, Lord Zedd comes with 2 gripping hands. You can swivel and then hinge them as you'd like. They're pretty cool, and they look great with the armored plating at least, and the claws too. He has these great claws that look super scary and threatening. The Lord Zedd I'm reviewing comes from a 2-pack with Rita Repulsa, hence this grenade being the update and this one being the original, yet I still love this figure a lot no matter which version it is. Being the first Power Ranger character I ever heard of when I was a kid. I had a cheap action figure of him, and I'm glad to have this update in my collection. He also comes with a fist and a gripping hand that look pretty cool. This one has a hard time swiveling a little bit. I may have to lube it up or something, but it looks really neat as well as this fist hand does. They do swivel and then hinge, and they're just really nicely done pieces. Yeah, they're cool. He also comes with a green crystal that is used to suck out the Green Power Ranger's powers and give it to himself. It's pretty cool and has a lot of little cracks and crags inside of it. It is very unique and awesome, but it reminds me a lot of Donkey Kong Country 3's bonus rooms with the crystal banana birds. So, yeah, it's just a bit of nostalgia for you. Lord Zedd comes with his staff that he can hold in his hand very well. If you move it down, though, it doesn't really hold all that well. Move it up, it doesn't really hold all that well either. It's very loose in that, so keep it to the center. It is a nice looking piece, though. It's just really super great. There is a fun fact with this, though. On the old version, this point was pointing the other way. They corrected it in this release. I like this release the best, so I kept it. I'm glad I also kept the lightning effect for this piece because it makes the staff look extra menacing and really cool. This is from the first version of Lord Zedd and is a really nice piece. It's the same piece that Rita uses, and the lightning looks really cool on it. As far as articulation goes, the head can go back this far, forward this far, swivel all the way around. Get a little bit of pivot in there for attitude. Very nice pivot for talking also. You get up this far, down this far. Maybe not all the way around. I need to actually double check on these joints. And yeah, the tubing may not want to move all the way around, so just be very careful with that. If you're going to do that kind of thing, you do get a swivel, and you get an elbow joint going up this far. Just be really careful with those tubes, because I'm kind of scared too. There's a butterfly joint that goes back and forth very nicely in there. That's nice to see. We get a swivel all the way around and a back and a forward, and some nice pivot over here with some swivel as well. We get some back way far with the crunch, forward this far with the crunch pretty nicely. We do get splits over here. Really well done on that. And in and up this far, back just okay, I would guess. And that just popped out. So if that pops out, there's a little hole right there. Pop it back in. That's it. Very easy to do. Yeah, just watch out for the articulation on this guy. Nothing down here, and then up, and then down, and then pivot with two peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Yeah, those tubes get in the way of articulation, but I love the look of this guy, and yeah, he's incredibly nostalgia heavy, as he's the one villain from Power Rangers I even knew from the show when I was younger, not even having watched the show at all as a kid. So yeah, that's some staying power. Rita stands at about 6 inches tall or so, while Zedd himself stands at about 6¼ inches tall, maybe 6 3/4 if you count the Z at the top, next to their respective versions of Goldar that I've made. And this is great. This is sort of the high command of Power Rangers villains, aside from Scorpina and Finster. But they look great together. I love this a lot. Yeah, nothing can stop these guys, including Jesse Hecht Creative. And then by the power invested in me by the state of this YouTube channel, I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride. Please don't hurt me! Overall, I really love these figures. The creativity in them is astounding and amazing. Goldar version 1 is really cool. I do like how he looks, yet the wings are kind of a letdown for me. The gold is neat on the middle section, and that's a nice touch. The sword's cool, but I swapped it with the other one, so it's kind of a moot point now. Goldar version 2 is better in the paint department. He looks dingier and dustier. I do like the little stubby wings, they're kind of cute. I kind of like him actually better than version 1, just because the lack of wings really helps out with his articulation and posing. Rita is an insanely great figure. She looks really awesome and imposing and scary and freaky. She has a lot of great accessories that involve her love with Lord Zedd, and it's really sweet and cute and kind of weird in some places with that love potion, but the sculpts of those are really cool. Her articulation is kind of weird. You have to look around the cloth goods on the figure, but once you get past that, she's pretty solid. Very nice. Lord Zedd is a triumph. He's my first figure into the whole line, and they knocked it out of the park with him. He's amazingly great and super good. I did notice while trying to pose this that the hips were a little bit loose, but with some finagling, I figured it out and made it work. He is just great and has a lot of good posability to offer. Aside from those tubes, he looks wonderful. These figures are awesome and definitely a must pick up if you want to add to your Power Rangers Lighting Collection villains. They are the highest of the high, the worst of the worst, the baddest of the bad, and the most good to collect. Thank you so much for watching Jesse Hecht Creative. Feel free to click like, subscribe, share, or leave a comment. You can also visit us at jessehechtcreative.com, where you'll find more reviews like this one. Thanks again for watching and keep being creative. Stay tuned!